Hey everyone, welcome back to InDFlix. Love Island USA Season 7, Episode 32 took us on a roller coaster of emotions. We had audience voting, dumpings, competitiveness, and fresh drama over who's getting intimate. Let's break it all down. So Brian and Amaya definitely had a time in the Getaway suite. First of all, the room is beautiful. The room is beautiful. They had a hot tub. Maya was in there with her little lingerie set. So it was bound for intimacy on all types of levels. And of course, they had their cheerleaders before they went in. And I'm glad they had that moment. I think it just increased the level of physical intimacy, emotional intimacy, even the next day with them talking about, where they stand. This was very much needed. And I hope, before the finale is, because it is, coming up on Sunday, I hope other couples get to experience that alone time. I think it's definitely a big difference than being in front of everyone. You actually get to just focus on one another. So I think it was well deserved. And they had a time, they got it in, and we here for it, y'all. So speaking of getting it in, Chris has a conversation with a few boys about his feelings towards Huda and how it's starting to crack, y'all. He is upset that Huda doesn't kiss him. Like, outside of challenges, they don't do pecks, they don't kiss, they don't make out, none of that. And he noticed it really when after the baby challenge and they had that sit down conversation to, have understanding. He asked her for a kiss. And the first reaction she did was look around. And I didn't notice it, but when I did play it back, she definitely did that. And I didn't think anything of it, just watching it. But okay, now that he's put in that perspective, why was she looking around to see if anybody was watching? Like, we know who you're coupled up with. This is the only connection you have. This is the only connection he has. So what is this sneaking around for? And Chris is definitely not feeling it. And lucky for Chris, he gets to get some of this frustration off playing what he does best, basketball. So the guys actually get to get away from the villa, get away from the girls, and go shoot some ball. And I'm happy for them. Like, they look genuinely happy. And is it anyone else? But the episodes ever since, who left, it just seemed lighter. Like, I feel like we're even though it's the end, literally the last few days of the season, we're finally watching Love Island. So watching them play and having a ball with each other was definitely needed. Seeing them being so competitive, but also having fun with it. I think it's just going to grow their friendship overall. And of course, after the game is over, they have a little small smack talk, but they get serious into conversations about their current connections. Nick is expressing, even though him and Alandria are slow burners, like, it's moving, like they're getting more physical. Also Brian expressing how he feels about Amaya. Taylor letting them know, like, hey, I think I want to close things off with Clarke, and he wanted to talk to the guys about it first, which I'm not gonna lie, in my opinion, I'm like, for what, you didn't have to talk to the guys about it. I mean, I guess if you want to give them like a heads up or whatever, but I don't know if he was like seeking validation. I don't know, but he wanted to close things off with Clarke. And then Chris brings up his situation with Huda and how he's not feeling it. And I think out of all the guys, I think Brian's the only one that knows that Chris and Huda has sex. But, the guys are telling him, like, express how you feel to her. Like, that's what you should be doing. So he's going to take that advice, and I guess he's going to use it later on, because things, y'all, if y'all know Huda, y'all know Huda. And Huda is so unaware that there's even issues, because she's explaining to Shelly and Alandria that their connection is good. Like, she really, really likes him. Just all smiles. So it sucks. I wish they would have had that conversation prior. But, it is what it is, as long as they have the conversation, right? And then Alandria is letting them know how where she stands with Nick, and that this platonic friendship can definitely turn into becoming lovers. And that's what most people actually look for. They want a partner who has started off as their best friend and now they're a strong couple. So and we could see it here. I see like mixed people saying like they just feel like it's because they have no other choice because Sierra left. But no, like they've always been close. And I get that Nick has never chosen Alandria as a couple, but he has chosen her in many other ways that I feel means more. He's chosen her for challenges. Those are situations where you get a choice. He's chosen to stand up for her when they've tried to push her out multiple times. Like he's been there for her. So I'm not with all I'm not against what they're trying to do. And shit, even if it's for the money, I would gladly like to vote for Nick and Alandria. Alandria, go ahead and take that 100K. Do what you gotta do, mama. Like, it is what it is. But I do genuinely think they are trying because they don't have the distractions anymore. And later that evening, the guys got back to the villa. And Taylor, as corny as I think he may be, he actually did something very creative and I think was very touching for Clarke in his proposal of going or becoming exclusive. He knows that she was a cheerleader. So him and the guys planned out a cheer, which was so cute, and spelling out her name. And yeah, he asked her to be closed off and be exclusive. And I think, yes, I give a hand clap to Taylor. Like, we definitely like a man who shows effort for what he wants. And of course, she said yes. Everybody's cheering for them. It's nice to see, and, Clarke hasn't been there that long. Remember, that she's a Casa Amor girl. She came, or I guess she's not, I don't even know what they're called because the guys were in Casa Amor, but whatever. They started off, and their connection's been strong ever since. They really connected and coupled up together. And everybody was cheering for her. Even Alandria, her and Nick spoke about it. He wanted to check in on her feelings. She said, I'm happy for them. I'm rooting for him. I want him to be happy. She also brought up, since he's in veterinarian school, he's gone majority, like I think she says like for 3 years, and then they're already long distance. Like she didn't think it would work. And in my opinion, before she even said this, I also questioned it. Like, will this work outside of the villa when he's back where he's at, she's back where she's at? I don't know. We will see. But for right now, they're exclusive. They together, they go together real bad. So congratulations to Taylor and Clarke. And then, although we had a great celebration of a couple connecting, we bring Chris and Huda, a couple who is going through it. So Chris pulls Huda to the side to have the conversation, basically trying to get more understanding of why she's moving the way she's moving when it comes to being intimate. He brings up what happened after the baby challenge. She acknowledged that, yes, she looked around to see if anybody was around, and he wanted to know why. Her reasoning was she didn't want to do it in front of everybody else, I guess because nobody else is really doing it. And it's maybe she doesn't like PDA. Does anybody else call bullshit? Or is it just me? Okay, I do not get it. And then Chris is trying to explain how he feels towards it, and she's continuously cutting him off. And you can see the frustration in his face every time she cuts him off, which is she's known to do. So I think the mask is finally starting to reveal itself. And I don't think he's ready to put up with it. Like, he's been putting up with certain stuff, but I think he's reaching that point. He may be reaching that point. And I don't blame him. Y'all have sex in a room with everybody in. Yes, the lights are off. But unless y'all are Mighty Mouses and aren't making any noise, you know what I'm saying? So if you can take it to that extent where you'll have sex with me in the same room with people, why kissing me in front of these same people is a problem? Especially if you really like me, I really like you. Make it make sense, Huda. It doesn't. I really don't know what it is. I don't know. I can understand if she's thinking about the whole Jeremiah thing, but then that just goes to show she really wasn't listening. People didn't have a problem about how affectionate you were with Jeremiah. It was that you were very territorial over Jeremiah. Nobody could look at him. Nobody could talk to him. Nobody could kiss him. Nobody could hug him. Like, you was like on demon time. You know, it wasn't that you was kissing him and cuddled up. Everybody does that. It was just how territorial you were at the start of this. And I don't think she sees it that way. I think she probably thinks, well, I was doing so much with Jeremiah, then, you know, I don't want it to be look like that. But everybody knows we towards the end. Everybody expects you and Chris to be all over each other. At this point, you should be. I mean, y'all did. Y'all was having sex. So it doesn't make sense. And I'm fully on Chris's side with this one. How about y'all? Like, where do y'all stand on this whole argument about being intimate behind closed doors instead of being out in the open? Even if she also said she's a touchy-feely person. And Chris also needed to talk to, a second ear to just make sure he's tripping. And of course, he goes to Huda's closest friend on Amaya. Remind you, this is the girl she was talking about in the beginning, talking about she ain't no girl's girl and all this other stuff when there was the whole Jeremiah and Amaya thing. But whatever. He goes to Amaya just to see if he's tripping. And, Amaya validates his feelings or whatever, and then just tells him, maybe she's just being, in defense mode, and that's why she's not able to see how you're truly feeling. Your friend is wrong. Your friend is wrong. Let's keep it 100. Like, it don't make no types of sense. And I wish you would have just said, I don't understand, or just say, I really don't want to be in it. I understand your feelings and you're validating your feelings, but this is a conversation y'all both need to work through. Simple as that. And Amaya and Huda have their conversation, and Huda's like, basically trying to explain why she is moving the way she's moving, and, after the whole Jeremiah thing and stuff. And Amaya's trying to get her to, like, understand, yeah, but you also need to hear him out, hear his feelings or whatever, because that's Huda's thing. Like, if she don't like what you got to say or how you feel or whatever, she's going to walk away. And that's not healthy in any relationship. So Chris and Huda, the cracks are there. I think Chris has reached his point because he's just like, I don't know what else. Because first it's the getting on him about the whole little game they play with the baby challenge. Now it's this. It may be something else. He's trying to be mature and have these conversations for understanding. But again, we're at the end of it. So do y'all think it may be a little too late? So the Islanders get a text, and it's dumping time. Previously, America was asked to vote for their favorite couple, and we know when they ask for that, that means the couple with the least amount of votes is out of here. So they started reading off the text messages one by one. Ace and Shelly, which I was praying that they were going to be good. They're safe. Iris and Pepe, which I'm still like iffy about. I don't know what y'all see, America, between them. I don't see it. Maybe my blinders are on. I don't, whatever. They're safe. Brian and Amaya, which was what's to be expected. And then shockingly, Chris and Huda were also safe. And I get it because we voted before this episode aired. But you could just tell in Chris's face, he probably wished he was going. Honestly, he didn't look happy about it or nothing. He was just stone facing Huda, over it. And that left our last two couples. Nick and Alandria and Taylor and Clarke are our last standing couples. And I'm not gonna lie, y'all, I was nervous. I thought what was gonna happen was they were gonna leave it to these freaking Islanders who make bad decisions and bad choices on who to eliminate. And I didn't know where they were gonna go. I didn't know if they were gonna keep Taylor and Clarke because now they're exclusive, or Alandria and Nick because this is a brand new romance. I didn't know. But I was very pleased to find out that this was just going to be strictly based off the votings from America of who's going to be eliminated. So the anxiety definitely kicked in here for me in high gear. Part of me already kind of knew where it was going to go. So let's see. Taylor and Clarke were dumped from the island. And Taylor obviously looked upset. I mean, he's been there since day one. I think a major part of why they were dumped obviously is because of Taylor and just how he moved off of the whole Alandria thing. Again, it was never because of, his connection with Clarke. That's cool. It's just the way he went about it. He wasn't fully honest with Alandria where he stood. He did everything he could for Alandria to keep choosing him, but when it came for her, it wasn't reciprocated. So and Taylor's been on the bottom these past couple votes anyways, so this was no surprise. So they're gone. They are officially out of the villa, and that leaves us with what, our remaining five. So we're heading closer and closer to the finale. I don't think we're having any more twists. I honestly don't think we'll have any more bombshells like from prior seasons. We never had movie night. I'm kind of, we could talk about that towards the end of the season, but I have my thoughts behind that. But that's a wrap for episode 32. Were you guys surprised by Clarke and Taylor's shocking exit? And do you think Huda is being treated unfairly, or, I don't know, has a right to have the double standard? How are y'all feeling about Amaya and Bryan being the front runners now? Because that's all I'm seeing. Drop your thoughts in the comments, smash that like button, and subscribe to InDFlix for daily Love Island USA recaps. See ya.